Welcome everybody to the Check-In Podcast. My name is Camryn.
My name is Ian.
And we are the Check-In Podcast. We want to let everybody know who has joined already. Thank you so much for showing up and showing out to the Check-In Podcast. But this is a podcast geared towards teens and young adults. If you're not a teen or young adult, this podcast, it still might be for you, but it's specifically geared towards teen and young adults. It's a podcast where we talk about, our everyday trials, triumphs, and everything in between in life. As you guys already know, the theme this season is self-care. And today, the topic is going to be about paradigm shifts. And don't worry, if you don't know what paradigm shifts are, that is completely okay. We will go over it in this episode. But the first person I want to acknowledge today is Ian, because as you guys know, Ian is not necessarily a regular host anymore, but he is back for Thanksgiving break. So we want to give it up for Ian for being here. And then our actual guest of the hour today is Mr. Carlito Palmer. Carlito, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Of course. So, as you guys already know out there, well, if you don't know, the way that I open up the podcast every episode is I ask all of my guests, if you could use one word to describe your week so far, what would that word be? So, I'm going to start with Carlito, then we're going to go to Ian, and then back to me.
I think my word would be gratitude. I think my birthday was this week, Thanksgiving was this week, so I was surrounded by a lot of love, a lot of family, stuff like that. So,
your life.
Yeah, I'm going to say just being grateful and gratitude.
You said you had a birthday. How old did you turn?
25.
What's funnier than
getting
24?
up there. We're getting up there.
I know. Okay, so how does 25 feel? Everybody says that, as soon as you hit 25, you feel like the frontal lobe develops right away. Have you noticed any changes in your mindset?
I'm going to say, yeah. I think the biggest thing for me has been, trying to, essentially this year, I just want to embrace discomfort. Me, doing this podcast, doing stuff that's just out of my comfort zone that I'm not normally accustomed to doing. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just, embracing the discomfort and, putting myself in situations that will ultimately just lead to growth.
Yeah. That's what we're all about, definitely. What about you, Ian? What's a word that you would use to describe this week?
This week, I would kind of just use, I would say relaxed.
Yeah, you haven't had too much house labor.
Yeah, I haven't. Usually when I come home, it's Ian, can you help me do this? Ian, can you do this for me? Yeah, I haven't really had a whole lot of that. So, and then classes were canceled Monday, and I traveled home Tuesday. So
classes were canceled on Monday.
I canceled them.
Okay.
I wasn't. They wasn't gonna be talking about nothing. They gave us all of our assignments for the rest of the year. Why would I go? But I didn't go to class Monday. I traveled home Tuesday. It's been Thanksgiving break, so I just been relaxed.
So your word this week is relaxed.
Yeah.
So when this episode comes out, it'll come out sometime in the season, but it's Thanksgiving week right now. So my word this week is definitely gratitude. I feel like maybe a couple of years ago, I was starting to be really, really, really intentional about gratitude. These are the things you can be thankful for. Just trying to find things throughout every single day that I could be grateful for. Because I was noticing, I was just starting to have, a pessimistic and, negative mindset. So I tried to change that. And so this week especially, because it's Thanksgiving week, I feel like gratitude is definitely my word. But it's not just my word for this week. I think it's a word that is just something throughout life that I try to practice.
Gosh.
So yeah. So like I said, this season is about self-care, and one of the pillars of self-care is community, which is another thing that I'm grateful for this week. But I told you guys that today's episode would be about paradigm shifts. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm gonna read to you what Google has said a paradigm shift is. Google has said that a paradigm shift is a noun, and it's a fundamental change in approach or underlying assumptions. If used in a sentence, the sentence they gave is a little difficult, but I'll still read it. It says, geophysical evidence supporting Wegener's theory led to a rapid paradigm shift in the earth sciences. Or you could say something like, after going to a Seventh-day Adventist high school, I went to a non-religious college, and it definitely led to some paradigm shifts in my personal beliefs. I think that's an easier sentence. But so today I really want to talk about, in terms of paradigm shifts, how changing your perspective, changing your outlook, some of your core beliefs, even some ideologies can overall lead to a better version of yourself. By now, you guys probably have watched the episode about how changing your scenery can lead to a better version of yourself, how intentional rest can lead to a better version of yourself. But this season of the podcast, like I said, the theme is self-care. And to me, what self-care means, I don't think I've ever said it on any of the episodes, but to me, self-care is the connection between your mind, your body, and your spirit. Whether that is building that connection, whether that's rebalancing or maintaining that connection, or even improving that connection. So that's really what this season is about. It's about how we can improve, balance, or even establish our mind, body, and soul connection. And I think one of the ways that we can establish that connection is by challenging our inner beliefs, our inner thoughts, inner ideologies, especially when given new information. So with that being said, my first question is going to be for Ian, because Ian is not the stable host anymore, so he kind of gets to act like a guest. Actually, no. My first question is for both of you guys. How can a shift in perspective help us better take care of ourselves?
So I don't know if y'all have ever heard, there's this, it might be a little corny, but there's this quote where it's like your inner world kind of shapes your outward reality. So like, I think a lot of the times we kind of, it's natural for us as humans to feel like our own problems are like the biggest thing in the world. So I think a lot of the times it's kind of just that shift in perspective can help you just think like it's really not that deep. Mm-hmm. Like most of the times, a lot of the issues, like if you can do something about it, then you can fix it. And that's just what it boils down to.
I feel like you just kind of touched on a point that I saw the other day. I was watching Instagram and not watching Instagram. I was watching a reel on Instagram. And this girl she asked the question before introducing the word, but she was like, how did your perspective shift when you discovered this word? And the word is sonder. And sonder just basically means it just basically means that moment in time where you realize that everybody else has a life just as complicated and intricate as yours, and it's in their own world. So like when you just said that, it kind of like reminded me of like sonder a little bit, like, you know, like coming to that realization that, you know, it is your world, but also it is everybody else's world, and kind of just realizing that as well.
For sure. It's a lot of moving parts out here.
Definitely. Okay, Ian, so how can a shift in perspective help us better take care of ourselves?
I feel like a shift in perspective is just good for self-care, just because I know when I was like, I don't know, I want to say like 16 and stuff like that, I ain't really like care about, I'm not going to say I ain't really care about myself, but like, you know, like there's things I wasn't really like doing, like to take care of myself that I switched up to doing now, like coming to like more, being more hygienic. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I used to think some things were girly, like, you know. I don't really have a skincare routine, but I did start a skincare routine a little bit. he got skin routine. You know what I'm saying? I did start a little skincare routine a little bit. I gotta pick it back up. You know, my skin has always been flawless, but you know, like a skincare routine. Like I would always just see you and mom do it, and I'd be like, oh nah, that's not for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or like there was one day where I got my feet done. I ain't gonna lie. Like I you know, they did me a little pedicure. They got off the dead skin and everything. I was like, man, I'm feeling good. I can see why women like this. I ain't keep up with it because, you know, my self care is, you know, $30 every 2 weeks, get the line up. You know, that's my self care. But like, I got my feet done every once in a while. I'm like, yeah, this feeling good. You know, so it like shifting your perspective on that sense, but also like, when you when you're like talking to people and trying to understand people, like sometimes you have to see like from where they're coming from, like their perspective, so you can better understand them, you know, and that's kind of like how you build friendships, relationships, and everything like that. So, shifting your perspective is good to like benefit the outcome and everything. Okay,
well, before we move on, I actually kind of want to backtrack because these are one of the few episodes where I have male guests. And, you know, I've been saying since the beginning of the season, I kind of want to shift the perspective around self-care. I feel like in social media, self-care is used mostly by women. And it's about, like, getting your hair done, getting your nails done, going shopping, stuff like that. But like I said, it's the mind-body-soul connection. So I want to know from you guys, what is your personal definition of self-care right now? And it could change at the end of the episode. It could change, you know, as you move on through life. But as men, like, what is, like, y'all's definition or even like self-care practice as of right now?
Yeah, see, that's tough for me. I think because how I kind of approach self care is like just me doing everything that I know I need to do. So
Okay.
like
Facts.
whether that be working out or whether it be, doing whatever work I gotta get done, I feel like in my mind somehow that's just the best way I could take care of myself. Like
Okay.
doing whatever I have to get done.
Have you seen any other ways that people like are taking care of themselves that you like haven't considered that you might want to adopt?
Um, that's a tough one. I'm not I'm not sure. I think that a lot of people that I come across, self care may not necessarily be like habits that I would personally adopt
Okay.
because it just depends on the person. But like some people may choose to smoke or some people may choose to like use different methods to like kind of wind down. And I'm not saying there's nothing against that at all, but I think I don't I don't have like an example I necessarily look to be like,
Got
yeah,
you.
I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, E?
I would say like I don't really like have as big of a self care routine as I would like, but I know like things that I do to keep myself in check. Like every night, I always like sit down with myself like before I go to bed. I just listen to my music and I turn off my phone and like I just have my headphones in.
Okay.
I'm just sitting there just with my thoughts, trying to collect myself and everything like that. Every Thursday night, I clean my bathroom. I clean my bathroom, clean my room, at school, in my apartment. And either like on Fridays or like Saturdays, me and my homeboys, we always hoop, so,
Nice.
I get my exercise in, I get my cardio in, I get my hanging out time with my friends and everything like that. So like those are certain things I do for self-care. Like some things I want to get into. I want to get into meal prepping. I don't really, I don't really eat consistently. Like, not like, I don't have 3 square meals a day. I eat when I can, honestly. Like, cause when I get up, I just do. Like, honestly, I literally just go to class, do whatever. But I want to be able to eat nutritionally and everything like that. And so that's just one thing I want to adopt.
Well, I will say that I think you're on the right track because the 5 pillars of self care, I say this every episode, the 5 pillars of self care that I got from my therapist, and then also I looked it up too to make sure she wasn't BSing me. But the 5 pillars are nutrition, exercise, journaling, community, and meditation or like spiritual practice. So you talked about community because you go hoop with your boys. You talked about like meditation / spiritual practice when you like wind down at night and you put your phone away. Do either of you guys journal?
In a way, like
Okay.
for me, it's more so like I'll read something and then like write whatever thoughts I had pertaining to that.
So do you guys like prompts at all?
I ain't never really tried like looking at prompts.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a specific question for Ian. Would you consider $2 Tuesdays self care?
Absolutely, I would. I would consider $2 Tuesday self care. You get good food, you get nutrition. You know what I'm saying? You get community. You know what I'm saying? You get a good vibe. Like I $2 Tuesday is almost all the self care you need. That's the self care at the beginning of the week, and then church at the end of the week. That's
and tell us what $2 Tuesday is.
$2 Tuesday is just a vibe, man. That's what it is. It's just a vibe. Like I can't really explain it. You just gotta experience it for yourself, But it's always at Gate City Tavern, We always at Gate City Tavern off Westgate City in Greensboro. Every Tuesday, you get yourself some drink. You can get some water.
For $2?
Yeah, you can get some water.
So it's $2 shots.
Drinks.
$2 drink.
Y'all in Greensboro going crazy.
Stupid. Right by the college campus. Like
$2 drinks, $2 fish sandwiches. The fish sandwiches be busting, bruh. And the wings be busting. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. It's everything you want in one spot. You can get it right there.
Okay, so Ian, if you live in Greensboro, Ian just put you on to something nice. $2 Tuesdays. I have 2 rapid fire questions for y'all. Rapid fire, just want you guys to respond with one word.
Okay.
Okay. My first question is, do you see yourself holding on to some of the same beliefs and ideologies that you had 10 years ago?
Nah. Nah.
Yes.
Okay. My second question is, does America need a paradigm shift?
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. I think we head into our paradigm shift right now.
Okay. Elaborate. How do you feel like that?
I feel like this is, well, I don't know. We can talk about the election or something like that here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my
Yeah.
podcast, yeah.
I mean, I didn't know how you. Anyways. But nah, this election, I feel like we finna see the downfall of America. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't think it was ever gonna happen in my lifetime. Cause people be saying like, oh, history finna repeat itself. History finna repeat itself. This is not finna be good. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But
And it does.
it always does repeat itself. But it was just like they keep on saying this and it's never happened. But I'm watching it right now. I ain't gonna lie. I'm watching it right now. So I feel like, in this transition of power we better have, I feel like we better have a complete paradigm shift. Complete.
What about you, Carlito? Carlito, actually, I really want to hear your perspective because you don't live in the U.S. anymore. So, like, why do you say that you feel like America needs a paradigm shift?
I think so. I mean, we all young, right? So we probably been through maybe 4 or 5 presidential election cycles, and I think in at least the past 2 or 3, I don't think we, at least in our, like I said, we're young, but I don't think in our lifetime we've seen we haven't had to question the moral compass of the country to this degree. I don't think since,
Civil rights. Bro.
Yeah, it's been a minute, at least from like I said, we're young, so I could be, biased or whatever the case is, but I think that's where the problem is where a lot of the issues that people start to argue about, it doesn't necessarily feel like politics anymore. It just starts to kind of feel like whether you and I share the same moral values or moral compass.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the issue is.
But do you feel like politics is personal, or do you feel like the personal?
Personal in what sense?
Personal in a lot of people who say they don't do politics, but politics does you. You feel me? Do you feel like it should be treated as a personal a personal practice, or do you think politics doesn't have shouldn't have any bounds on people to an extent?
Yeah, so I think, 2 parts. Politics is definitely treated personally.
Okay.
I think that, and whether by choice or by force, I think everybody kind of has people are gonna make decisions definitely based on what impacts them. So by default, I think that there's personal aspects to it. I think that the people, going back to kind of what we were even talking about in terms of perspective, I think the people who are able to adopt and see the world through different perspectives of other people, those are the people who are going to look at it, through kind of a more holistic worldview, and kind of step beyond that personal aspect. Yes, certain things may affect me, but certain things may not affect me, but that doesn't mean I can't look at how it affects somebody and be I got to make a decision based on that.
Do you feel like people are lacking that,
absolutely
perspective?
100%.
I feel like this election. I feel like there's. I honestly kind of don't even know how to explain it, because it's you can say whatever you want about Kamala Harris, but there's just no. Donald Trump is such a just unfit person in general. I wouldn't even say a leader. Just the things that he says, the things that he does. He is just a person that really is it's first, after watching the debate, I don't know if anybody watched the debate. I watched the debate because I really thought it was going to be comedy. Never did I think he was going to say people are eating cats and dogs. Never did I think.
That was wild. Bro.
And it was the only debate they had. The only presidential debate that they had. I was huh? And for people who are still actively voting for him, Like we know the obvious. We know the people who are, rich and white.
Yeah.
But when we talk about paradigm shifts, we talk about perspectives, we talk about being able to see like the humanity in other people. I don't understand how other people voted for him. Like 60% of Latinos. Not trying to turn y'all off to the podcast, but
that's when we talk about. That's when you asked him if politics becomes personal. That's when politics became personal because people like a lot of people voted selfishly during this election. You know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like they voted selfishly though?
Yeah, I feel like they voted for so the day after the election. I got I was on a phone call with our cousin and
Who?
our cousin Gabby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was on the phone call with our cousin Gab. Well, here's how it started. I was just in my room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the phone with Dad, and I seen a call coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Gabby's number. I seen her best friend Kayla's number, and I seen like 4 other random numbers. I'm like, what is this, bro? What am I finna walk into? So I get on the phone with them. It's them, and it's their like homeboys, that they know since kindergarten. They sit up here telling me that these black men voted for Trump, and they say, "Yo, you need to say something." And I'm like, "Nah, fuck." I'm not here to educate. I'm like, if they did that as a black man, they are far gone, whatever. But unfortunately, I did end up doing it because I like to argue a little bit because because I know I'm right. I just like to see how far, you know what I'm saying?
The other person was
willing to go with me. But one of their reasons was because he's a business owner and he think Donald Trump gonna give him tax breaks and bread and all that and everything. So that's why I say it's kind of personal because he think Donald Trump gonna give him bread. He not getting the bread. I ain't gonna lie, But he also says some crazy stuff like, oh, he making $100K from his business, but he's living at his mom's house. Then he think Donald Trump gonna give him bread. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying like he did that personally. Because that's what he felt was gonna benefit him. But he ain't think about his mom who encouraged him to vote. His mom encouraged him to vote, but she thought her son was gonna do the right thing.
Right.
Son ain't do the right thing. You feel me? So that's why I say it become personal because how you vote against your own mom's interest.
Do y'all feel like in politics like there ever is a right candidate and a wrong candidate? Like we know there's not a perfect candidate, but do y'all ever feel like there's something like, and maybe not even just like the presidential election, but like when you are able to elect somebody to lead you in some way, shape, or form, do you ever feel like there's a right and wrong answer? Or, nah.
Yeah. I feel like there's a right and wrong answer. Like, again, not even with this election, but there was a right and wrong answer with this election. If you, really change your perspective and look from other people's lens and see, what the effects are from this election, what's going to happen to, certain demographics and groups of people, you would have voted a certain way. But also, school elections, right? We do SGA elections like I'm sure y'all have done in college and everything. You vote for your missus, your SGA president, everything like that. A lot of people vote off of popularity. They don't really vote for what the person going to do. Granted, they can't really do much because at the end of the day they're still students. So they're not going to be able to fix your tuition and everything. But you got to pick the leader who is more personable. You know what I'm saying? There's been times where I've been campaigned to. On my school, and the people who campaigned to me didn't remember my name for the next day after they talked to me. I'm not finna vote for you. You just wanted to get your name out there. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody remember my name and everything like that, and then they follow through and they was doing the same with other people and just very genuine, that's what I'm gonna vote for. That's the right candidate because they care about the people.
That's valid. Have you guys had to make any shifts in your mindset this year alone to get to reach a certain goal? Like for you, you're nearing graduation. Have you had to change your mindset in any type of way as you near the end of your college career with you not living in the U.S.? Have y'all had to change your mindsets in a certain to a degree to get to a certain goal for this year?
I'm definitely say yeah. I think that so like you kind of said, I moved to Jamaica this year. So I think that jump alone is it's a big leap of faith in the sense of I've been back and forth. Let me not say back and forth. I visited Jamaica a lot since I was, a child. So I think it's not necessarily like completely unfamiliar, but it's a different experience when you feel like you're leaving everything that you're 100%, at least in theory, familiar with, back here at home. So I think that, yeah, it definitely required a shift for me. I think it's one of those things where, you just kind of analyze the situation and you think about what the potential benefits could be, and you just kind of move from there.
What about you, Ian?
I've had to. I really wouldn't have to say I changed my perspective. I definitely changed my work ethic because I'm not gonna say I just be coasting or whatever, but like I really just get what I have to do and just I do enough. Like that's me, because with college I got like extracurriculars, I got choir, I got fellowships and everything like that. So I literally like just do enough. But like this year, like knowing I'm graduating, like it really hit me. I want to say it hit me Saturday because I think I applied for graduation Saturday, like officially applied. And I was like, hold on, bro. Like, we not going to get no more winter breaks. We not going to get no more summer breaks.
Nope.
Like, this is going to just be grind. So I was just like, let me try to work myself into that mindset. And, like, I just been applying for jobs anytime, like, I have downtime. Applying for jobs, just trying to get a leg up, making phone calls to, like, network and everything like that. So, yeah, just my mindset has changed just with my work ethic, I would say.
Mental health is a big thing that we talk about with self-care. Have you guys felt like you made any mindset shifts with regards to like your mental health at all?
My plan ever since I have a 5-year plan, after I graduate. Like I have a 5-year plan, and in that 5-year plan, like obviously it's gonna be get a job, but like with the job money I'm going to get, I would definitely invest in therapy. I want to do that. I feel like everybody needs it. And just to see like how I could switch like my perspective, see how I can be the best version of myself. I feel like that's what therapy would do for you, and so that's part of my 5-year plan is to invest in therapy.
Okay. Do y'all feel like when it comes to like big changes in your life, do y'all feel like it starts with your mindset first, or do you guys feel like it starts with like other external things like having access to something, whether it be money or an opportunity, or having community, or physically working on something first? Do you like what is all?
I think it depends, honestly, because like I think something could get dropped on your lap, and like your life can really change, like in an instant, like very quickly. So I think that in essence is like an external factor, kind of stepping in front of your life and causing some type of internal change within you. But there's also kind of the potentially, abrupt change can also happen from the inside out. I think like there's little things that you could do, like if you decide fully and completely to just practice gratitude starting today, like that may really start to change things on the outside. But usually that inside to outside change kind of happens a little bit more slowly. But yeah, I definitely think so.
Okay, so you said your life can change in an instant, and I really, really, really want to get into like your change, your move, all that stuff, because I've known Carlito since high school. So I've known Carlito about like 10 years now, for real.
Damn. That's crazy.
We started high school 10 years ago.
That's wild.
We started.
That's actually
10
wild.
years ago. Yeah. So, but Carlito recently, he moved out the country. He told y'all he moved to Jamaica. But I want to know what prompted that change. Did it start with a paradigm shift first, actually? How are you liking it? What are you learning about yourself over there, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so I think, I would say it started with, so like I studied film in college, right? And throughout college, I think during the pandemic, I really started regretting going to college because like as a film major, I think I missed out on a lot of the production aspect that I really, really, really wanted to get out of, going to film school. Like I feel like that's what film school should be, you making films. So I feel like I missed out on that, so I began to kind of regret that. So then I just kind of started to dive into like a different industry, which is finance. So like I started getting involved in the stock market. Then I started learning about real estate, and then as I started to kind of speak to my dad more about what I was doing and what he was doing, he's a real estate developer in Jamaica.
Okay.
So I think once so between like 2020 and like 20 and now, really you could consider it, is essentially when I kind of again started getting into finance, got involved in stocks, got involved in real estate. And then last March maybe, so like March 2023, I had talked to him about it, and I was like, I'm thinking when this lease is up at my apartment, I'm gonna just come out there and just
Your
try.
apartment where?
I was in New York at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna just come out there, pick up game from you, do stuff out there, and then eventually when I could lead a full development project by myself, I'm gonna go wherever I want to and do it there. So yeah, I think a lot of why I made the move and why I'm doing what I'm doing was ultimately just kind of like me not being fulfilled with what the kind of film path immediately was looking like versus like now I feel like if I'm doing all these things and just kind of am able to like have a firm financial foundation, I have no issue funding my own films. I have no issue doing my own thing and just creating projects by myself. Because with the capital, you don't really necessarily need anybody or need to answer anybody. Yes, I think you do need connections, of course, in the industry and stuff like that. But I think having the capital definitely can provide you with a little bit of freedom to just create what you want and, just make something great. I think that's it.
So you felt like financially you were going to be kind of like held down a little bit if you didn't make a change?
I'm gonna say yeah. I think because, like I said, I think it was really, I think my mindset may have been a little bit differently if the pandemic didn't happen.
Okay.
But because I feel like I missed out on so much of the production aspect, I feel like it would have been a solid minute before I was able to like get the skills and credentials needed within the film industry to even like consider some type of success in that realm. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where like I did good things. Like I'm not gonna say like I worked for the Knicks, for example. Like I worked for a big real estate company in New York. So like I did good things. I just felt like with each opportunity, I don't think I was getting like there was just some like glass ceiling that I wasn't feeling like I was breaking through.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm gonna just take it into my own hands and forge this path by myself.
I like that you said that because I was a film major too, and so I feel like the audience can definitely see like two people who probably had like the same thought process, but like they chose two completely different paths to like kind of get what they wanted. Like for me, like I felt like I was so upset during the pandemic because at first I went to college as a physics major and I really wanted to be a film major, but my parents, it was like I was just trying to like figure out the easiest way to like break it to my parents. And I didn't test into, there was a math class I needed to be, really I wanted to do it mechanical engineering, but I wasn't able to test into that math class because Howard is just Howard. And I transitioned, I had an internship with Noah just by talking to a teacher. They had internship spots open. I had an internship with Noah. I realized I didn't like physics that much, but I did like computer science, changed my major to film, minor to computer science. I did that COVID semester. So January, I was feeling so good. I was like, I'm finally studying like what I want to study now. Then COVID happened. Then I was like, I just got here. Like, I'm not going to get no type of experience. So then I started the podcast. And I started the podcast, most podcasts, or not most podcasts, but podcasts are generally something that you just listen to. But I started the video aspect because I want to get better at setting up a set. I want to get better at, doing lighting and stuff like that. This is not really a good example today because my soft boxes are nowhere to be found, but that's okay. But like editing this, like I edit the entire podcast myself. And I just recently got like an assistant, and for me, and I have a website and all that stuff. And for me, like this is how like I combated that feeling during COVID. I wasn't necessarily regretting going to college. I was regretting changing my major without any like real hands-on guidance. But I feel like this podcast alone has gotten me every job like media-wise that I've ever had. I had this podcast and I was able to, the first internship that I had for physics, they asked me to come back as a fellow, and I was like, well, I'm a film major now. Is there any way that, and it turns out I was able to create my own like section in the department as a social scientist because I was in the School of Communications. Then I moved on to like social media management. Then I also do AV at church. Now I work for the World Bank, like, and all that stuff like was because of this podcast. So anybody watching out there, you can have the same conclusion as somebody else, but you can take two completely different paths and still like be successful in life. So I'm glad you brought that up, actually. Yeah, sure. For sure. What about you, Ian? Oh, we got into how do you like Jamaica? Actually, forgot.
Yeah, I do like it. I think it's a different vibe than America for sure.
Okay.
I think I'm appreciative of, like I said, like we kind of talked about it a second ago, like the small things of like, me being like, even like me being able to go into my backyard and like pick a mango off the tree.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like peak life.
Yes,
it feels like,
it is.
So, yeah, it's good. I think like it provides a good balance of like work, but also like just a more kind of serene, stable environment as well. So yeah, that's been nice.
You are Jamaican, but do you feel like in like actually living in the country, you've had to make any like personal or cultural shifts?
Folks do not like socks out there. They do not like socks. But it be stuff like that. Like I'm more comfortable wearing like just sandals, for instance, like little stuff like that.
So
I know it sounds crazy. Yeah, it sounds crazy, but people it's just a different like.
It's true though.
Yeah, like it's a little bit different in little things like that. But in terms of like in a major way, I wouldn't say so, because like I said, like I've been there so many times throughout my life where like I feel like it's not a huge culture shock for me. It's more so like, yes, at times there will be times where you can clearly see like that's the American right there, but like it's more so not necessarily uncomfortable because I'm just like so accustomed to it.
Yeah, that's valid. Okay, well, you were talking about small shifts, and so that actually, like, I want to ask you guys another thing. What small shifts, or some examples of, like, small, like, mindset changes or shifts that have, like, made big impacts in your life? It doesn't have to be just this year, but, like, what are some, like, small things that you can recall that you started doing that, like, has, like, snowballed into, like, having a major impact in your life?
For me, I would say, I mean, like a second ago, I talked about, like, embracing discomfort. We talked about gratitude a little bit. I think that those are some of the things that can change a lot, because you just start putting yourself in position to like almost like form a new identity. Like it's very small, but like if you just like even the whole gratitude thing, it's like practicing that is one of those things where that sometimes it could get you out of terrible thoughts and terrible mindsets. So I think just little things like that, I believe can kind of work wonders.
What about you, E?
I'm gonna also say the gratitude thing. There. I mean, I'm about to graduate college and everything like that, but like, I'm just thankful just because I know there's a lot of people that wish they were in my situation. I know that's kind of like, I know people have like said that talking point like throughout life and everything like that. Like people would wish to be in your situation, but that's like so true.
It is.
So like realizing where you're at and like this is not as bad as it could be. I feel like that's like small things, but also realizing that I realized like if this is not as bad as it could be, that it could be even greater if I just put in the work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, those are, like, the small shifts. There's, like, two sides of it. Like, realizing, like, accepting, like, okay, it's not as bad, but you could be even better, you know? And that's it.
Okay, I have another question. So we talked about earlier, I asked you guys 2 rapid fire questions, and I asked you guys, do you find yourself still holding on to some of the same ideologies or like principles and stuff like that from 10 years ago? And I asked about the 10-year mark because, 10 years ago we started high school. So I want to know, like, and now we're like basically 25. I want to know, I feel like for me, once I left TA, or not even once I left TA, once I was at TA, like there were certain things that were like going through my mind that like I started like questioning that I had been raised on, because I was raised SDA, and up until TA, like most of my friends had gone to SDA school, but I only went to SDA school for high school, and there were some things that I feel like I experienced at TA and even beyond that kind of challenged some things that I was raised on. So I wanted to know from you guys, and I can go to, what are some things that you feel like you used to believe, especially 10 years ago, and now you don't believe, or your mindset has shifted on that?
I think I used to have like a lot of beliefs that kind of like what I said a second ago, about like that glass ceiling over my head. I think that definitely 10 years ago, I think it broke a little bit, even in terms of like beginning of high school, like either, I don't know if it was freshman or sophomore year, like if you remember, like that was probably when I first started like messing with cameras, right?
Yeah.
Or like actually like doing stuff with it. So I think I wasn't sure if I would ever be good at it. So I think that was like a limiting belief or like a glass ceiling over my head. But and I think in some ways I still do deal with those, just in different arenas. So I think that's one thing that I kind of have to consistently remind myself that like I've broken through every single one of them before. So like,
Why not?
like why not this one? But I do think that has been like a reoccurring thing for me.
What about you, Ian?
I don't know. Like, I haven't, because 10 years ago I was 10. I was 10, 11. So, like, I wasn't really developing a whole lot of thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's kind of really a hard question. I really don't know.
Okay, maybe about 5 years ago then.
Like, high school, how did I?
It was 5 years ago, by the way.
Yeah. High school was 5 years ago.
Should be.
But I think the company you keep, I always like, I think my perspective on that changed because, not to say I used to keep bad company around me. Like, I never had no treacherous friends or nothing like that. But like, I did have people who weren't like aspiring to be in the same position I am. Like
Position meaning like college educated.
Yeah, college educated and really focused on getting it done. And not like playing around in school and everything like that. Like I used to be in even in college. I was like one of my first friend groups. Like they was cool. Like they were cool people, but like they weren't like as focused as I was. Or like serious about like understanding that like, yeah, you're here by yourself, like you don't have no supervision, but you had to get what you came here for. So like my perspective on having like a quantity of friends rather a quality of friends change.
Ooh. Actually, I think I agree with that. Because I think in high school, like, we all went to the same high school, actually. Yeah. High school, like, our high school was kind of, like, rather small. Like, it wasn't, like, empty or anything like that, but it was small compared to, like, other high schools. I feel like it was really easy to have, like, a lot of friends at TA for sure. And then I also was just, like, in high school, one of the things that makes you close to people is the fact that you see them every day. And you, like, see them for long periods of time every day as well. And so I feel like I had a not only close friends, but I feel like I had a lot of close friends. And then going to college and like that large pool of close friends, like getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so I think for me, definitely learning that quality over quantity is definitely better. And I think like there's a lot of like the wise sayings that people say. You know, when you're younger, like you don't get it, and then you get older, you be like, oh,
Yeah,
I know exactly what you mean now. Like I know exactly like why you said that, or also just like discipline, like looking at discipline differently. I think one of the things that I said was when me and Ian went to World Choir Games in 2018, and a lot of people don't know, but like we were like really training for that for an entire year, like from the summer before up until like we hit that stage. And I remember telling myself and writing in my journal that like this is true discipline, and if you can commit yourself to something like this for an entire year, you can commit yourself to anything. And I sometimes like when I think about whether it's like, you know, getting back on an exercise routine or developing a sleep routine or even doing something as simple as making sure that when I wake up in the morning, you know, I have time to do my skincare. I'm not just jumping out the bed and washing my face real quick and trying to fly out the door. Like I actually like allot myself time in the day to get ready and ease into my day. I feel like those small habits that I have right now are because of like that one experience and having to keep reminding myself that, you know, you are capable of discipline, and it's something that you've done it for like a long time. So anytime you come to a small challenge, just remember the big challenge that you conquered. So I think those are like a couple of things that, you know, I have changed since high school. But I've always been like a little quote unquote, what do you call me, Ian?
I call you a lot of things. What? In regards to what?
Like in regards to like how I think.
I used to call you a hippie.
Oh yes, hippie. I thought you were gonna say radical. I don't know why you can say that.
I used to call you a hippie.
But do you still feel like I'm a hippie?
Nah, not really.
Oh, what changed? Cause you called me a hippie the other day, so.
I did. Oh well, I mean it's not as bad as it used to be. I mean maybe when I was calling you a hippie, I didn't really understand what you was doing, like all that yoga and sitting in the middle of the living room, just, you know, crisscross applesauce and everything, and trying to get you try to like you're very vocal in what you like and everything. Like you guys, you have to try this. I'm gonna make this for you guys, and it's just all right, bro. Like you're doing a lot, you know. But I mean, it's not bad. It's just you.
I'm very expressive for sure.
Yeah.
I'm very opinionated for sure.
Yeah.
But what he's referring to as hippie stuff is literally self-care.
Oh.
Literally.
I guess you can say my perspective on that changed.
So exactly. So that's why I brought that up. But yeah, so those are like some of like the perspective shifts that I had, and I'm glad you guys shared that. But for you guys, I always ask my guests to leave the audience with a piece of advice. And so the piece of advice I want you to leave the audience with is give advice to listeners on how to initiate like their own paradigm shifts. I feel like you've touched on it multiple times, Carlito, but like anybody who is like out there kind of like struggling with letting go of like a certain belief or ideology that they had, whether it's fear of discomfort, fear of change, fear of success.
Yeah, I think so. A couple things I'm gonna lead with. There's this one book I read. The title's kind of crazy, but it's called Unfuck Yourself. Yeah, but it's by I want to say it's by Gary John Bishop, and in the book, a part of what he talks about is just like the magic that people are looking for being in the work that they avoid. So like that feeling of motivation, of excitement, of all these different things that like you're looking for so that you can then start the work. If you just started the work, those feelings may actually arrive. So I think with that, a lot of what I would say is like just do it. Like and that goes for many things. Like if you're trying to change something, like don't wait for a feeling to arrive or for you to be in a certain type of mood. Because at the end of the day, those feelings are fleeting. They're going to come, they're going to go. But if you just commit yourself to like doing the thing, whatever that may be, then you'll be like 1,000 times better off. So like just don't duck, honestly. Like literally just don't duck. Just go after it, do it. And the results may not show as you want them to, or in an urgent manner, but as long as you're disciplined, as long as you're consistent, as long as you kind of stick to the change that you want to see, then it's gonna come. It's just a matter of time.
That's good advice.
Got you. I would say for me, be patient. I would say like just patience. Well, we're talking about like I got two, so like.
Well, this is the advice on how to initiate your own paradigm shift.
Oh, how to initiate it?
Yeah.
Oh, like Carlito just said, bro, just do it. I ain't gonna lie. Like that's all you gotta do. You actually really like stole a whole lot of what I was gonna say, like saying like people are fearing the work and everything. Like, don't fear the work at all. Like,
the work is what makes it worth it.
Yeah, like you fall in love with, like, you're gonna fall in love with the outcome so much more if you fall in love with the process. Like, cause I know, like, I'm about to graduate college. Before I got to college, I really don't like school. I'm being honest with everybody. I do not like school. So there's people who like schools. There's people who like school.
It's people who's school lifers.
Yeah, they love school.
I personally, doctorate, the double doctorate, like
PhD.
Like I personally don't like school, and then like also like when I'm getting my my courses from like my advisor, I'm like, bro, I gotta take that class. Like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. But like the process of like getting through college, you know what I'm saying? It was fun. And it's gonna make graduation day feel so much more sweet. Just because I had to go through a lot in college. I ain't gonna lie, I had to go through a lot of like. The professors and everything, like professors, I ain't gonna lie, they be hoeing you sometimes. Like you gotta get through the hoeing. You know what I'm saying? Like you just gotta get through that. So yeah, just fall in love with the work, and like the reward is gonna feel that much better.
My advice would be to read. If you really want to work on changing your perspective and stuff like that. Sometimes we get so caught up in just hearing our own voice over and over and over again. Even when you pray and you ask God to show you something, you're really waiting for that sign that reaffirms your voice in your head. But I say to read, and not even nonfiction, like history books and stuff like that. That's important too. But even fictional stuff, or even biographies and stuff like that. Hearing somebody else's voice articulate an opinion or an ideology or a belief that you've either never considered or have considered but don't know how to keep exploring that path, you can get that a lot through reading. And so that's it, especially nonfiction. I mean, no. Especially fiction, especially immersing yourself in different worlds and stuff like that. If you can do it with movies, you can do it with reading. And that's the first way I would think to initiate some type of paradigm or mindset shift. So yeah, that's my advice. But before we go, I want to ask you guys a couple of scenarios, right? Mm-hmm. And the scenarios are because, a couple days ago, I was with my brother and his good friend. In a little session. And they wanted to play a song. And the song was called Hustlers versus Scammers, right? So I was listening to the song, deep in thought, deep in reflection. And I was like, this is so interesting. Because it never occurred to me that, I guess the youth these days think hustling and scamming are different. Not my opinion, but my interpretation was that scamming was a form of hustling. So first, I want to ask y'all:
that's crazy.
Is scamming and hustling the same thing? Yes or no?
To an extent.
Yeah,
or what's your definition of hustling? First of all, let's start there. What's your definition of hustling?
So. I'm gonna say this. I think that is it the same thing? Let's use that perspective we was just talking about, and then maybe I see the argument. But if you talk about just trying to establish clear bounds for what we mean, I would say hustling is work where you're not scamming people.
Okay.
And scamming is all that other stuff.
Okay.
Just blunt.
What you, Ian? What's your definition of hustling?
I feel like hustling is like just putting in work, you know, like
But scamming, you gotta put in a certain type of work too, right?
Here's
Yeah,
the
but
thing, here's
scamming
the
like you
thing.
taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
So it's like
Scamming,
it's
you taking advantage of people. But here's like a situation where I kind of can see like scamming is like kind of hustling at the same time.
I'm gonna give y'all some scenarios.
Okay. Because like let's say you don't got nothing, you know, but all you got is a computer and some VPNs, man. You ain't got nothing to your name, but you got a computer and you got a VPN. You gotta figure out how to capitalize on what you gonna do. You gonna get to swiping cards. You know what I'm saying? You gonna get to swiping cards. And then once you come up just a little bit, get a little breath of fresh air, that's when you get out the game. You know, that's when you get out the game, and then you start hustling. You feel me?
So, if you have a computer, you can't get like a virtual job?
I mean, but that puts you in predicament because you could get scammed that way. You feel me? You get a virtual job, you know, they was trying to send you checks through the email and everything like that. Let's say you're not really educated and everything. Like, you gonna get scammed yourself.
So you're not educated enough to not get scammed, but you're educated enough to scam.
I mean,
I just want to make sure I'm following.
here's the thing with scammers, bro. It's like I don't know. Like the scammers, they're so smart until like they're not. You feel me?
Okay.
They're so smart until they're not. Like and like it's kind of you kind of get scammed because you kind of just naive. You feel me? You kind of naive. You kind of have you have a good moral compass. So you're just like you're like niggas wouldn't do me this way. You feel me? So you're like why would trouble like that come my way? You know what I'm saying? That's like you get scammed because you naive. You feel me?
Okay. So I have a scenario. So scenario 1. Let's say you have a young neighbor who's an only child and doesn't have a father in his life. Every now and then, let's say twice a week, you go over and you spend some time with the kid. After you spend a few hours with the kid, you raid his fridge and pantry to feed yourself. Is that scamming or hustling?
That's hustling. That's hustling.
Thank you. That's
You got no dad. I came to chill with you. I'm looking out. The least you could spare some food.
Okay. How do you feel? Ian?
I think that's hustling.
That's hustling.
I think that's hustling.
Now,
That's hustling, man.
if let's say the person does not know that you are raiding their pantry and fridge, is that still scamming or is that still hustling?
Just walk to the kitchen. They gonna find out.
Okay.
They gonna find out, man.
Alrighty. The second scenario. Let's say you go to Walmart and you steal $80 worth of groceries for $40. The groceries that you went to go get, you and let's say your roommate had agreed to split in half. You and a buddy said you were going to split the amount, and when you get back to the crib, you tell him that the full price of the groceries was $80, not the price that you paid. He gives you $40. Remember, you only paid $40 to begin with. Is that scamming or hustling?
That's scamming. Yeah, that's scamming. I'm gonna have to say that's scamming because when you think about it, you was supposed to finesse the Walmart, not
Right.
your man.
Right.
You scamming twice.
Right. So and those are some scenarios that we were discussing the other night, and I had to ask people. I was like, so because the friend of mine, he had told me the story. Like he was like, oh, let me tell y'all how I was hustling this one time. And as the story went on, I was like, you scammed the store, and then you robbed the person whose house you sleep in. Okay. That's all I want to know. So we're talking about paradigm shifts. Remember, guys, if you don't know what scamming or hustling is, refer back to these two scenarios. Well, actually, with those two scenarios, what do you say made one scenario hustling and one scenario scamming?
I think the first one,
Mm-hmm.
you was already at Lil Bro house,
Mm-hmm.
and because you was there, you just you needed something to eat.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel like that it was a fair trade?
Hell yeah, he don't got no dad.
That was hustling. Okay, got you. Okay, and then with the second scenario, we're talking about stealing from a big corporation. What made that scenario scamming versus hustling?
Walmart ain't worried about your petty little $40, bro.
Okay.
Your little $40 worth of product. Walmart ain't tripping.
All right, so that's
But your man's that 40 might. I mean, that 40 might do something for him.
yeah.
So
That's what I was wondering. Okay. Okay. Thank y'all for answering what hustling versus scamming was. I just wanted to make sure that the audience like understood because the other night when I looked up the song, there was he told me, he said look up Hustlers versus Scammers by Peasy. That's the artist, right? And so when I was looking it up, I saw so many other songs titled Hustlers versus Scammers. And I said I did not know that it was this big of a topic. Like so many songs dedicated to this paradigm, if you will. So I just wanted to make sure we got that cleared up before we exit the podcast. Carlito, is there anything, you said you moved into finance. Is there anything that you want to plug before we hop off?
Sure. I am starting to try and get more consistent with YouTube and everything like that. So, all platforms at Lito Creates.
Okay.
Content coming soon for sure.
Okay. Can we get a sneak peek at the type of content?
Really everything. Finance, everything from real estate, stock market stuff. Also, I'm probably mixing some short films and stuff like that. Really just whatever I feel that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. Ian, would you everybody knows your Instagram because you're part of the podcast, but is there anything you want to plug?
No, man. I don't really got nothing to plug. May 10th, watch the graduation on live stream. I'm finna act a fool, But yeah, that's all I got for y'all.
Okay, by the time this episode comes out, my website will be up at CamrynJoiBillette.com. I do consulting, I do videography, I do social media marketing and management. So, if y'all looking for somebody, tap in. And I'll link it below. And then I always have a playlist for y'all. I still don't know what the playlist is going to be, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know what the theme is. I don't know what the vibe we're looking for. But it's going to be a playlist for you guys at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you follow us on all platforms at the Check-In Pod 1. That is Instagram. We're not on X anymore. Sorry. We don't support that app. But that's Twitter. That's Instagram and Instagram only. Follow us on YouTube at the Check-In Pod 1 as well. And like, comment, and subscribe. And don't gatekeep. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. All right, y'all. Peace.